Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Papers. Here is Miss Sawalha.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? We've just had... How Mark is going to sit down now and do these papers after the chaos of the curly...
There's a lot of stupidity in the papers after you get past the serious shit.
Yeah, so Mark's going to do some serious shit. He's studied the papers. How did you do that with everything that was going on behind you?
I didn't do it whilst we were live.
No, I know, but you did. Can I just say I really, really love you? I just looked at you and I thought, I love you.
Oh
you're such a grafter and you're such you're such a good man.
Bring me sunshine in your smiles. Bring me
We were just saying over on Instagram, guys, do you remember those days way, way ago when we just believed in the world?
We believed in Morecambe and Wise.
We believed in
when doing this.
Before we were awake,
was everything.
Before we were awake,
I mean,
to the world.
It's a bit.
Why did they wake us up?
We need to be awake. It's a bittersweet irony.
If somebody had said to me years ago, Nadia, when you're 60, because I have just been 60, your main thing in life is going to be about being an activist, I would have laughed the house down.
Yeah.
I just can't believe. But what happened was we got awakened. Don't let anyone say to you, "Oh, woke." Yeah. Be careful who's telling you that, because it's the people that don't want you to be awake.
We have got our tree up, Chris Bibby.
Yeah.
What of it?
Yeah, we've got all our desks. Still got
what of it?
The hall is still a full gingerbread house.
Yeah, we had the British Gas round the other day. He said, what are you going to do with this then when you take it down? I said, it's going in the loft. He's like, he was amazed. He said, I've never ever read a meter in a ginger house, bread house. Reese Robert says, unfortunately, I've never had a wholehearted belief in the world, probably because I'm black, and being black means you can never afford to be asleep. So the luxury of staying asleep is a very good point.
But I was asleep. I was asleep to so much of the way that I was spoken to and treated with my dad being an Arab, and I was asleep. I was fast asleep.
Snoring.
Because it is not in any way as obvious as it was for you growing up. But it's, you must be tired.
Yeah, weary.
You must be so weary.
Weary.
And sending you lots of love and solidarity. Meeting at 12 o'clock at Whitehall. If anyone is in London and wants to go to Whitehall, that's where the meet is, but you can always join later. It doesn't have to be 12 o'clock.
Just to clarify, is it a march? Is it a gathering?
Well,
the government, the police have tried to stop the march.
Apparently, we live in an apartheid state now, so we're going to see that the police are trying to ban it.
Get ready for the brand new bandwagon off. There's a ceasefire. Get over it. There's a ceasefire. Cheer up. Why the long face and all that bollocks?
Love you all.
Love you. Have a good one. I'm not going because we've got Nanny Di in the house, so I'm going to be here looking after her and the girls, and lots of content to be editing. So, Lior, good morning. Be woke with pride. Absolutely. Well, of course, on that note, we may as well lead with the papers not giving it a massive amount of coverage. I mean, I do guess that's probably because it's been covered in the weeklies. But some of the headlines: Israeli government backs ceasefire and hostage deal after tense delay. And let's just remember, the tense delay wasn't Hamas. The tense delay was how to get the rather rabid right-wing members of the Israeli government to agree to a cessation in killing people. And that was really what the delay was about. And do not be, hoodwinked. Just because a ceasefire is announced, due to take effect tomorrow, just because a ceasefire has been announced doesn't mean that after phase one, Netanyahu, potentially with all of his acolytes, will be looking for whatever way he can to reignite the fighting and the war and all that kind of stuff. So don't be bullied, don't be harried by those who want no one. You see, the mainstream doesn't want us to analyze this stuff or challenge anything or have any critical thinking. And when something like this moment happens, it's very convenient. Lots of people will be saying things like, but there's a ceasefire, so you must be happy. There's a ceasefire, you must be happy. Well, happy if you buy what you're sold by the mainstream media and you don't think that perhaps there could be something else going on behind the scenes. So yeah, big deal that Israeli government finally managed to get the really rabid right wing to calm down for a moment. That's how I read that headline. This is an interesting point. This is something that I've always felt. When there was the do you remember when there was the pause in fighting in October? I said this back then, and this is great that the papers have picked up on this. Food aid, agreed truck surge is evidence that Israel was curbing supplies.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this is, if on the day of a ceasefire, suddenly trucks can fly in, how can Israel claim that they were allowing free, unfettered access to humanitarian aid? A provision to increase the aid entering Gaza shows that Israel could have allowed more food, medicine, and other supplies into the Strip during the war. Humanitarian and legal experts have said. Some legal experts have also looked at, if you were watching Coffee Money yesterday, the Biden interview with MSNBC, where he talks about having had a bit of a chit chat, like a warm, affable chat with Netanyahu, essentially about mass killing. That's what their chat was about. Biden managed to distill it down to a sort of cozy, avuncular chit chat with his mate Bibi.
But a slight smile on his face.
But a number of legal experts are saying we have the evidence we need to show that Biden was egregiously breaking humanitarian law.
Absolutely. And smiling about it.
And smiling about it. Yeah.
Love you all.
Yeah. Love you, babe. Take care. Chant for me. Reese Roberts, like the post going around on the internet, ceasefire is the bare fucking minimum. Absolutely. Ceasefire is the bare minimum. But I like this. Let's see everything that can happen now. So if the media are allowed in, let's remember, rather than the mainstream media saying to us all, this is just good news, which it is, obviously, for the aid going in. What does it say about what was happening? We have to keep our side mirrors clear, and we need to be looking in the side mirrors and our rearview mirror all the time. Other headlines, a lot, no shit, Sherlock, a lot can still go wrong, in inverted commas. Wary reaction in Israel as some want the war to go on. And I think it's really important to know this. There's a huge, not all, but there's a huge section, huge percentage of Israelis, the population in government, who want the fight to continue. And there's a huge number, settlers, etc., who do not want a Palestinian state. So let's not pretend that suddenly everyone's kumbayaing and kind of going yibbity-yah. Welcome if you're listening on podcast, by the way. Defense Minister. Now, this is chilling. And I want you to sort of just bear with it. This headline is chilling. And it's like a little detail. This headline speaks to what I call the reach around back scratching, though I could use another analogy, that will have happened between Trump and Netanyahu regarding the ceasefire. This is the Israel Katz, the Israeli defense minister, is releasing all the West Bank settlers that Israel holds in detention. Why this is significant is settling and the settlers in the West Bank are illegal. In releasing those that have been arrested, this is essentially Israel releasing the most extreme, radical, extremist settlers out of prison. This is clearly one of the deals that was struck behind the scenes. And I've got a really horrible feeling that this is all West Bank settlers held in administrative detention will be freed, Israel's defense minister said. In his announcement, he also referred to the West Bank as Judea and Samaria as part of the hostage release deal. I've decided to release the settlers held. This is to convey a clear message of strengthening and encouraging the settlements which are at the forefront of our struggle against Palestinian terrorism. They're illegal. So do you remember the annexation of the West Bank has started with this headline? They're releasing the most extreme settlers. So there we go. And we're moving on from Israel in a moment. But we've got this. Gaza war nurtured more hate than any conflict since 1945. Yes. There ain't no hate like the hate you're going to receive from a population that's decimated, 1.9 million people uprooted from their homes and displaced, at least 100,000 direct casualties from war. Let's just pause for a moment and think about the awful stories recently. There's a connection between the Grenfell Towers illnesses that some of the firefighters have got, the over 3,000 deaths that happened after 9/11 due to smoke inhalation. So we've got around about 100,000. There's at least 10 to 15,000 bodies that are under the rubble that will probably never be retrieved, but maybe they will be now. Parts of them will be. There are also something like, I think, 2 to 3 to 4,000 who may well have simply been vaporized by the strength of the bombardment. So there will be no physical evidence of them anywhere. And if you do that to a nation, it's not going to be surprising that there will be more hate, rightly or wrongly. If such egregious acts of violence, apartheid and control weren't happening, it would be very easy and very standard to say, why are you anti the Israeli government? But the Israeli government specifically has behaved like a bully in a playground, punched everyone around it in the face, smashed everyone in the face, taken everyone else's packed lunches, put their heads down the toilet, and then runs to mummy, in this case Biden and Trump, and says, nobody likes me. I mean, just stick, the narcissistic toddler analogy for Netanyahu's Israel is an apt one. It's like they will constrict and constrain and punch and bully and lie and then run around and say, but nobody likes us. And then they have a really indulgent mum who comes in and looks after them. Ellen, watch Dr. Gabor Mate on the tape talking about Zionism and all the trauma past and present. Brilliant talk. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, a tree is still up, Patsy, 68. It's the sight of the children who are injured, orphaned, homeless that gets me. It's also wrong, Clodo. You're absolutely right. It is I mean, thank you, Northern Salt. It's such a close. I mean, when you go with analogies, sometimes you think, it kind of works, but it doesn't work. It couldn't work better. Imagine a playground. Imagine a really angry mini BB, the biggest baby in the world, running around, punching everyone around him. Then when someone punches him back, they're called terrorists. And then when everyone else is critical of him and starts saying, I don't want to play with him anymore, sanctions and all that kind of stuff, nobody likes us. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You're not a very nice man. That's why. It's pretty simple. Front of the Daily Star. Now, this is a biggie. Make Hollywood great again. I've got my Hollywood envoys. I'm sending in Rocky Balboa. Orange man baby's #1 priority as 47th president of the USA, get Rocky to save Hollywood. What? Here's the thing. You can tell we're getting into lighter stuff here. If Trump is lighter. What does an envoy to Hollywood do? I was talking to my mum about this as I picked her up last night and I was driving across London. I said, do you think, so he's chosen 3 envoys. He's got Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and John Voight. That's going to cause fucking conflict in the Angelina Jolie Voight household. So these are his 3 envoys to make Hollywood great again. We want to make sure that we are competitive and Hollywood goes back to the great old days. What's he going to do? What are these 3 going to do? Are they going to ride in and knock on studios' doors and say, show me what you're looking at? Or is Sylvester Stallone going to go, hey, show me what you're making? I mean, what? So this is Rocky Start. There's Sly Stallone, John Voight, Mel Gibson. Man Baby's first job picking 3 dodgy old film stars to do his bidding in Hollywood. I mean, who's going to listen to them? He wants them, as I say, make Hollywood great again. They've been made special envoys because, and this is to quote the big man himself, Hollywood is great, but it's a very troubled place. It's lost much business to foreign countries. Oh, I mean, imagine what kind of films Trump would want us to make. Oh, God. I mean, I don't see how this is going to work. It can't work. Some are making quite a bit of the fact that Trump is to be sworn indoors as wintry Washington shivers. I've looked at the weather apps, which in other news today are totally unreliable. But apparently there is a cold snap. It could be something like -5 in the middle of the day in Washington. So he's going to be sworn indoors. But that hasn't stopped a number of ufologists and supernaturalists and whistleblowers and people to suggest that the reason he's doing it indoors is he doesn't want to be zapped by aliens. Who thinks come Inauguration Day, we are going to be any the wiser UFO orbs, drones, all this kind of stuff? Because lots of people are saying it's going to be the big end. Does anyone here believe something cataclysmic is going to happen on the day that Trump's sworn in? Tra-la-la. My friend is mortified that Americans voted for him. We get lots of comments from Americans saying we're so sorry. I mean, you don't have to apologize to us. We get it, but puke worthy, says it says Rachel Thomas. I'll come back to Reese in a moment. Reese, on the special Hollywood ambassadors he's crafted are abysmal. They're all dudes who, for the informed, have completely lost their appeal. I mean, they're just so irrelevant. No, just another day, Christine Bett. I think the Dems will have a good laugh about him being sworn indoors, Reese. He's so cringy. Maybe for safety. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think UFOs are going to link. King of Chaos. I'm the king of the chaos. I'm the jungle VIP. I've reached the top, and that's the lot, and no one's bothering me. There's a US storm coming. King of Chaos. Trump has threatened much, but next week, just what? I mean, to be fair to the guy, a lot has happened, and he hasn't even started. He's in negative, positive. I mean, he's got more done, potentially, you could argue. He's got more done in the 10 days running up to taking office than Biden got done at all. Biden's just sat there going, yeah, I don't know who I am. So he's turning into Trump. Tick-tock, 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 tucking on heaven's door. It's the Bob Dylan film. It's out. A complete unknown. Hopefully getting Nan to the cinema. She hasn't been for a while. See old Timothy Chalamet. Bob Dylan's timing is impeccable. Bob Dylan joins TikTok the day before it's about to be banned. I kid you not. He's this is quite funny. Bob Dylan, singer, joins TikTok as US ban looms. I can't help but just think that, albeit that it's going to go dark in terms of for Americans creating new content. It's not going to go dark for us. We're going to still be able to see no content coming through. I'm curious to know whether the old content, I suppose all American accounts will be unavailable and unseeable. But I think Trump is going to negotiate a deal. I think there'll be a deal on the table. There'll be a lot of youngsters who are related to American politicians going, you can't let this happen, Dad, Mum, what? But yeah, I just thought the timing on this was hysterical. Obviously, it's to promote probably the new film, A Complete Unknown. Bob Dylan is TikToking on Heaven's Door after signing up to the social media app just days before it could disappear. He's set up an official account and launched with a 50-second video montage. Could be one of the shortest, most highest profile TikTok accounts in history. I'm going to be honest, when we see the film, I'm not massively excited about seeing it. I don't know why. It feels like it could be a bit of a drone. TikTok assails children with harmful videos. Do you know what? It's not that it doesn't, and it's not that it doesn't happen, but it's kind of like the genie's out of the bottle. There just needs to be more safety. There needs to be more provisions. I think the idea of banning everything, I think the whole banning of TikTok is frightening from a freedom of speech perspective, regardless of whether most of what's on there is a load of bullshit and memes and viral stuff. I do worry it could be the first shot across the bows of not exactly news media, but being able to secure information or spread thoughts without, the limitations of legacy media and mainstream media. But of course, TikTok closing down has huge potential implications for British influencers who face a costly loss of foreign followers. Social media influencers, we have a business, which is a YouTube channel. An American audience is important to everyone who has a big account. You've got people who buy your products. You've got people who watch your ads, your adverts, your any brand promotions and stuff like that. So, there is a huge industry, and that industry is worth hundreds of billions of pounds. And so, yeah, it's quite a worrying moment. I saw a statistic that said something like, there's tens of thousands of businesses in America that's principal form of selling clobber and gear and stuff is on TikTok. So it's a major whack. Dame Joan, I can't say I was ever a massive fan. She was a sort of different era, a different generation. She was rarely in things that I would have naturally stepped towards. But Dame Joan Plowright, another one of the old Dame greats like Maggie Smith and it says here Judi Dench, what have you. She's passed away at the age of 95. Of course, she was married to Laurence Olivier. I've never seen a Laurence Olivier performance, which I actually didn't think was massively. It's a different style of acting back then. But it's weird. Whenever I pass the sculpture of him by the National Theatre, I sort of think, God, he's even overacting holding a sword in a sculpture. But yeah, no, she'll be greatly missed by a certain generation. So that's Dame Joan, who's passed away. And at sort of the opposite end of the cultural sphere, here we go, Dennis Law, who tragically passed away. Whenever I see Dennis Law, I always think of, what's the name of the singer? Rod Stewart. Fighting spirit took him from childhood and poverty to footballing legend. He's tragically passed away at the age of 84, nicknamed the King of Old Trafford. He was always very witty. Whenever I saw him on telly, he was always very funny, wasn't he? He was irreverent. So again, loss of two idols at opposite ends of the cultural spectrum, really. So Dennis Law, who's also sadly passed away. Now, we talked about the Oscars. Stephen King, the horror author, Stephen King. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for the new film, The Monkey. It's another film version of a short story by him. Horror icon Stephen King has joined calls for the Oscars to be cancelled over the LA wildfires. Okay, who thinks the Oscars should be cancelled? And when they say cancelled, it's about tonally respecting what everyone, ordinary punters, if you like, in LA have gone through. I mean, not just Hollywood people, rich celebrities, but the tens of thousands of ordinary Angelinos who've been impacted by the fire. There's a quite a strong Jean Smart, who won the Golden Globe for her role in Hacks. She was saying they should cancel all of these kind of razzmatazz events. But others are saying, no, we need to show that we're a city that can push on, and maybe it will prove to be a healthy distraction. I think that's problematic when you have gift bags worth £1 million and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But here's the thing. Even Nessie Jeff, you think they should. That's interesting, Faith. Not cancelled, but changed to autumn. There could be a real dilemma. If you cancel it, then you have, in the history of the Oscars, rather frustratingly for a number of films and actors and talent, a year where all the films that were up for contention get missed. So I think the other way of doing it is you don't have a ceremony, but you do almost like the nominations are done on YouTube or something. You have an announcement of the winners, but without the razzmatazz. That way you can still hand out the gongs in a way. But Stephen King's chimed in. The author insisted he will not be voting in this year's Academy Awards, saying no glitz with Los Angeles on fire. And this image, I just pulled this image because on the same page, look at this camper van miracle. That's an image from Los Angeles. That's a blue VW camper van sits unscathed amid the charred remains. And by all accounts, the van, he hasn't driven the van in there. It says here, Preston Martin parked this in Malibu shortly before the fire. This is astonishing. He was delighted and stunned that when he saw a picture of his van stood defiantly among the rubble and debris. Can you believe that? All of that went up and that one VW camper van didn't. He said, she said, Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, it's getting vicious, it's getting expensive. Lord's great ad for VW, isn't it? This is a kind of, I was going to go into this, but I think this is possibly a bit of a movie chat more. But this is the increasingly fraught Hollywood claims and counterclaims between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. The A-list legal battle that's gripping Hollywood, while at the same time exposing the industry's seedy underbelly. So here's the thing. Blake Lively's legal action last month against Justin Baldoni alleged not only sexual harassment, but a concerted effort by PRs to smear her. In an astonishing development, Baldoni, the director and actor in It Ends With Us, has hit back with his own lawsuit against Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, claiming they smeared him with the character that was in Deadpool called Nice Paul. So he's also, I think it's a $400 million lawsuit against Disney as well for allowing him to keep the character in I mean, it's getting ridiculous. The numbers involved in these lawsuits are staggering. Now we're into the light stuff now. 43 is the age we really start turning into our parents, says survey. I love this. If you find yourself moaning about the weather, or, I mean, I found myself doing this thing that my granddad used to do. Someone says, are you going to go there? And how are you going to get there? And I look out the window. Whenever I said to my granddad, I was leaving when we visited, he'd go, which way are you going to go? And I said, oh, I'm thinking of going through the New Forest to get back. And he went, whoa. And he'd sort of go dewy-eyed, and he would always look aloft and above the trees in the garden. He looked like he'd seen something awful. But he would go, no, you want to do the A342, take the second exit on the roundabout, keep going, don't take the first left. My ADHD brain, I was out of the room, shoveling chocolate eclairs in my mouth and trying to find them teleport before he'd finished. And I come back and he was still halfway down the A33. Then I did that the other day, and I thought, oh my God, I've turned into my granddad. 43 is the average age when you turn into your parents. My mum has become Nanny Thelma. I mean, that seemed to happen almost the moment Nanny Thelma died. It's like Nanny Thelma's soul leapt out of her body and took up residence in Nanny Di. Wouldn't you agree, Mum? According to a third of people, these are the main indicators that you've become your mother, father, or your mother or father. A poll has found is whether you moan about the weather, nod off in front of the TV. Here are the telltale signs. You complain about the weather, you fall asleep. You've started dressing for comfort. Oh my God. You like to be tucked up in bed before 10 p.m. Dina says, why aren't you in bed by 9? And I'm like, you boring cow. Don't tell her I said that. People say you look just like your mum and dad. Didn't really know about my dad. You start to monitor your household energy consumption. Oh my God. I said yesterday, God, have you noticed the gas usage that you've taken up gardening? I hate that one because you can get cool gardeners. Just if you take up gardening, doesn't it? You review your finances on a regular basis. You have a favorite chair. Mine's the floor. And the other day I used this. I used this as a cushion because no one would give me a space. Yeah, I used that to rest my head on. You finally realize your parents were right all along. Not too sure about that, Mum. Oh my God, Mark. And I said, Jeff, that's exactly what happened to my mum. She's now my nanny. It's uncanny. She's even, I know my mum's in the house and she'll be watching this. My mum's even got Nanny Thelma's accent. Strange. You use loyalty cards and count your rewards and points. I've done that for years. You have a hot water bottle. Don't have that. I relate to the favorite chair, says Zoe. Of all these, tell us which ones you relate to and I'll read them out. You start to pack your holiday suitcase neatly. That's Nat. You stop accepting invitations to parties that start after 8 p.m. You feel guilty if you sleep in past 8 a.m. Yeah, absolutely. You've made a household budget which you stick to. You've switched to a more calming radio station. That's that sort of, let's just put on benign noise in the background. You repeat the same jokes and you have a thicker winter duvet. Karima Hamdi is ticking all those boxes. Anna-Marie Shellard says, I've been 43 since I was 10. Isn't it such a privilege that it's nearly impossible to get lost these days, Reese Roberts? That's your generation's old person's chat, I think. We've never had to get lost. Finances, no. Anna-Marie Shellard, early to bed, no. But parents were absolutely right. Weather matters. I never feel guilty for sleeping in, says Cloda. Dawn Decker, my favorite chair is a bean bag. Oh, I like that. I look very much like my mum, Caroline French. Zoe, I said I relate to the favorite chair. Katie Johnston, I'm turning into my granny and my mum. Wow. Yeah, I sometimes really find myself sounding like my granddad. Apparently, I have my granny's humor, which is the best compliment to me ever. Yeah, I have to say, I think my mum's definitely got Nanny Thelma's acerbic wit. Not even a one-liner. It was like a one-worder. That's boring. I don't know why I pulled that. Don't care about that. What's this one? Oh, yeah, this is interesting. Drink, be merry, and toast the traitors as pubs seek to cash in by airing live finale. Now, we started this series with all vim and promise, and it just faded away fast. It was like, I'll tell you what the problem was here. The press ran too quickly with spoilers. We were invested. We'd watched 2 episodes when only one had gone out. Then in the 3rd episode, when a major contestant was evicted, or one of the traitors was, it was over all the papers. So we kind of gave up because we thought we were behind the curve. So when does it finish? Venues from London to Manchester are hosting watch parties where guests are encouraged to wear traitors-inspired fancy dress as they participate in the special themed night. It comes as the show overtook Strictly Come Dancing as the BBC's most watched reality show. Figures released this week showed the Traitors attracted 9.5 million viewers, surpassing the 9.1 that watched the launch. When is the final episode? This coming Friday. It ends next Friday. Maybe we could jump on board then quickly. But yeah, that's quite so. So Drink Be Merry. It's the kind, I can see why that would be I do think, like there's a move towards analog photography, vinyl, music, everything. I wonder if Severance season 2 premiere. How many episodes have landed of Severance, Reese? I think there's going to be a repeat. It's sort of analog, isn't it? Watching shared programs together, all sitting down and sharing. Going back to our what's this? Oh no, there's another headline here. Haggis, that awful taste of Scotland, changes its recipe to be more palatable. Fuck that. We'll move on from that. Sorry, Scots in the room. What a shower. What could they be referring to here? What a shower. The forecast is weather apps will get it all wrong. Has anyone else using a weather app and it ever been accurate? Or even its forecast be right? You watch it, you see you've got snow landing on your head. You go to the weather app and it's got sun. It's just this anyway. This is weather apps should not be trusted as their forecasts are unreliable and are often too gloomy, say boffins. According to a new study, both the Met Office and BBC's weather apps overestimate the chance of rain. It's true, though, because if all you see on a weather app is sun, 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 you're unlikely to go searching. I mean, what are you searching for? How can they be miserable? How can putting miserable icons, which aren't accurate, but make it... I literally don't understand anymore. That's algorithmic madness. That's your weather apps chat. Oh, look at this. This is good. 1 in a billion spherical egg spotted at Devon Farm. This must happen more often than this. A farm worker in Devon has discovered what she believes to be a 1 in a billion egg. It's round. Alison Green said she had worked as an egg handler near the Somerset border for 3 years and had never found a round one before. The 57-year-old now plans to send it to auction. Good God. It's something that nobody else has. Not even Elon Musk, she says. Isn't it weird that Elon Musk has become this sort of strange yardstick against which we need to compare ourselves? Bottoms up. Sydney's Paul's thong ban swims against the tide. When it comes to clothing advice for women, the rules are endless. Avoid horizontal stripes. Don't wear. Now Australia's weighing in. A council in Greater Sydney has banned thong and G-string bikinis at its public swimming pools. You know what? I'm not a prude or anything, but sometimes you think, what's the point of wearing anything? Some of these G-strings, I mean, the guys are watching Love Island at the moment. Every now and then, someone will walk past the shot. And it's a mere gesture at decorum, isn't it? A sort of slither of what? To cover what? I mean, the size of the thong can't be enough to cover the thing that it's covering. So it's kind of surprising because you think Australia's all about the thong, 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 thong. Thong, 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 thong. It's nuts. What is? It's nuts. Calorie counts off the menu. Food labels have minuscule effect. Nutty calorie warnings have made people cut back on the equivalent of just 2 measly almonds per meal. I love the way the Daily Star, if you're worried about anything and you need to make decisions to be healthier, the Daily Star has all sorts of kind of descriptions for you. This one I quite like. Fun sponge. Don't be such a fun sponge. Fun sponges slapped alerts on non-pre-packed food and soft drinks in places like Wetherspoons and McDonald's. But an audit shows they are effectively useless. No one cares. No one cares. Accent on the bias. Nearly discussed this yesterday on Friday. Geordies, Scousers, and people from Bradford specifically risk legal bias because of the way they speak. Whereas people with accents like Newcastle pundit Alan Shearer Jodie Comer and Bradford singer Kimberly Walsh are more likely to be judged as criminals. London accents are also viewed as suspect, especially southeast London from Croydon, Dina. Those with strong Belfast or Glasgow accents are rated significantly less likely to be criminals. They are also thought to be the most likely to stand up for someone being harassed. Does anyone here have an accent that you're embarrassed of? Not that you should be, but you are. Because some people do. I mean, Anne Nan, going back to Nanny Thelma, who my mum has become, I love the Birmingham accent, but she tried to drive it. We grew up my mum grew up in Birmingham, and Nana and Granddad, I was born in Birmingham. They had the Brummie accent smashed out of us. She would hammer the table. Who said oi? Don't have an accent, but wish I did, Clodagh. Yes, I know what you mean. I just find my voice so boring. Flings ain't what they used to be. Flings, no, that's the wrong song. Flings are going out of fashion, with today's young adults half as likely to get picked up as they were in the 1980s. I've noticed that, actually. There's quite a bit of monogamy. Would you agree with that? Any of the younger members of the community? Is there as much flinginess going on? I mean, I know there's the whole dating app, but has the dating app sort of hit its peak and now is fading away? And actually people want something a bit more meaningful, a bit more, got a bit of teeth in it. Flings that researchers tried to chat up 96. God, imagine doing this research. Zoe, do you want to have a go at this? Researchers tried to chat up 96 people in their 20s on a university campus during a day in a repeat of a 1989 experiment. Subjects were asked if they would go on a date, take someone back to their place, or have sex. The proportion of women who agreed to a date plummeted from 50% in the 80s to 13%, while even men's rate fell from 56 to 25%. Those willing to go home with someone was down from 6% to 0% for women, and from 63% down to 25% for men. Interesting, isn't it? Is that a good thing? I think, well, good or bad, I think it's a sign of the times. I think more and more people feel unsafe around people. People don't know what people's intentions are. Helen Askew doesn't sound Norfolk. Oh, I've just missed you. Sorry, Helen Askew. Reese, I would say there's some concentrated monogamy effort, but equally there are still many who want to play the field and super committed, so it still goes both ways. Yeah. Hi, Christopher. Hope you're well, mate. Before I moved back here for uni, my accent was always mixed due to overseas British schooling. Since coming back, it's way more Aussie, and I always get nervous of how I sound. Does your accent sort of, if you're around strong Aussies, do you go Aussie? And if you're around Brits, do you become more British? It's like I love people whose accents, say if you're Irish, but you live in London. Does this happen to you, Zoe? You become more Irish when you're around your Irish family and friends. I love this story. This story is this is the kind of thing that would happen to me, and it might. Tesco's put my life in a swirl. This chap at the bottom here, this is very funny. Sweet-toothed Adam Twizzleton. What a fantastic surname. That's Adam Twizzleton. This pastry lover, he got a telling off from his wife after their Tesco club card revealed he ate 400 cinnamon swirls last year. That means if Nad's had a look at my nectar card, she would discover that I may have bought a few more custard tarts than maybe I've been letting on. Do you love this? Sweet-toothed Adam Twizzleton kept his habit quiet until the supermarket's app sent a notification listing the scaffolder's most bought products. Might just put that tub of Nutella back. Can't remember, someone sent me a tub of Nutella. I immediately handed it over, a little bit like handing over weapons in a weapons amnesty. Richard and Rudy, TV couple to flog undies. When I saw this headline, I thought, oh, I don't know if I want Judy Finnegan's underwear, thank you very much. I thought they were literally Brassic and was selling her underwear, but then that horrible thought left me. Married telly favourites Richard Madeley and Judy Finnegan could be about to launch a range of underwear. The couple have trademarked their name to flog goods, also including smellies, cosmetics. So they could be. So it's Richard and Rudy. I just pulled this. I was going to go through this exhaustively, but I just thought this was fun. Rick Stein goes back to 1975 at his restaurant. In his restaurant, he's got prices are back at 1975 prices. But let's just have a little back. Back in 1975, butter was at 11.5p, now £2.70. A pint of bitter, 28p. Now you can watch Man United for 65p. Now it's £66. Oh, I know everyone always goes, oh, but it's inflation. But we all know inflation isn't right. We all know things go up more than they should. And moving on to the final little stories here. This is a cutie. UK's cutie, I'm saying. UK's oldest municipal hut faces its final summer. This is in Bournemouth. There it is. Look, a little hut, beach nut hut number 2359. As the blue plaque on the building reveals, this is not any old wind-blasted beach hut. This was the first municipal beach hut in the UK, dating back to 1909. And it features it's on the Bournemouth seafront, and it's going to be removed as structural work on the nearby pier begins. Oh. Anyway. Oh, look, I love this. I just like this photo. Film fans let their sleeping dogs lie. More and more cinemas are allowing dogs in. My only concern with this is, what if they take a shit or a wee? It'd be very stressful. I mean, obviously make sure they've done it outside, but what if they get scared and shit themselves? That's always my worry. But I love the idea. Maddie really wants us to take Toffee to see a film. Film fans let their sleeping dogs lie. Also, make spectacles of yourselves, chaps. Big rim specs are in. Look at Daniel Craig's piercingly blue eyes. So piercingly blue that they pierce through the shaded color of his shades. And finally, I just wanted to pop this up just really to scare you all. I won't do it for long. There you go. Have a lovely day, guys. If you haven't watched it, go back, watch the Curly Cooks. The last 10 to 15 minutes for any film lovers is one of the most, last 10 minutes before the end is one of the most hysterical reactions to the description of a film, Baby Girl, you've probably ever seen. I'll probably be sub-clipping it for Instagram. It's very funny. Dina's reaction to what Baby Girl is all about. And if you haven't seen Baby Girl, if you have seen Baby Girl, check out our review, which has landed on the channel. And otherwise, there will be the 2025 vlog landing tomorrow night. We've got a Sunday show landing tomorrow, and a couple of nice dishes, some nice funny shit in there too. And something else will be landing tonight. Anyway, guys, have a lovely day. It's been fun hanging